Okay, so this is page 6, and we have two questions, number 7 and 8, at the end of this page. So question 7 says, what did the mothers find out about Miss Orville? Could that explain her strict behavior? And then question 8, do the mothers notice positive or negative changes in their children? How so? Okay, so make sure you're looking for evidence in the text to support whatever it is you are answering down here. Okay? All right, here we go. Page 6. The next morning, Roger refused to leave for school. "My shoes aren't shined," he wailed. "Not what Miss Awful calls shined. Where's the polish? I can't leave till I do 'em over." "Roger, if only you'd thought of it last night," sighed Mrs. Clark. "You sound like her," he cried. "That's what she'd say." And it gave his mother something to puzzle over for the rest of the day. She was still thinking about it when she joined the group of mothers outside St. Jeffrey's at 3. She had to admit, it was sort of impressive, the smart, martial air exhibited by the third grade as they trooped down the steps. There was to be additional ceremony today. The ranks waited on the sidewalk until Miss Orville passed back and forth in inspection. Stationing herself at the head of the columns, she boomed, "Good afternoon, boys and girls. Let us return with pens tomorrow." It was on Thursday that Nancy Reeves finally remembered where previously she had seen Miss Orville. Perhaps it was from the shock of having received a compliment from the latter. "Mrs. Reeves, I rejoice to inform you of progress," Miss Orville had addressed her after the third grade had performed its military display for the afternoon. "On Monday, young Bruce's penmanship was comparable to a chicken's, if a chicken could write. Today, I was pleased to award him an A." A tug at the tweed jacket, and the stiff-backed figure walked down the street. Nancy Reeves stared after her until Miss Orville merged into the flow of pedestrians and traffic. "I know who she is," Nancy suddenly remarked, turning to the other mothers. "I knew I'd seen her before. Those old ramshackle buildings near us on Hudson Street. Remember when they were torn down last year?" The other mothers formed a circle around her. "Miss Orville was one of the tenants," Nancy Reeves went on. "She lived there for ages and refused to budge until the landlord got a court order and deposited her on the sidewalk. I saw her there, sitting in a rocker on the sidewalk, surrounded by all this furniture and plants. Her picture was in the papers. Elderly retired school teacher. They found a furnished room for her on Jane Street, I think. Poor old thing, evicted like that. I remember she couldn't keep any of the plants. On the way home, she's supplying I'm sorry. On the way home, after supplying a lurid account of the day's tortures, Miss Awful made Walter Mead stand in the corner for saying a bad word. Roger asked his mother, "Eviction, what does that mean?" "It's when somebody is forced by law to vacate an apartment. The landlord gets an eviction notice and the person has to leave." "Kicked her out on the street. Is that what they did to the witch?" "Don't call her that. It's rude and impolite," Mrs. Clark said as they turned into the brownstone doorway. "I can see your father and I have been too easy-going where you're concerned." "Huh? We've got worse names for her," Roger retorted. "Curse names. You should hear 'em. We're planning how to get even with Miss Awful, just you see." He paused as his mother opened. Hmm. What did the mothers find out about Miss Orville? Could that explain her strict behavior? That's number 7. And number 8, do the mothers notice positive or negative changes in their children? How so? Remember to answer these before you move on.